Hello everyone, my name's Stonesy Boy and welcome back to Reading with Stonesy. Today we are reading Minecraft Zombies Return, chapter 17 and 18, or pages 82 to pages 103. What I would like you to do before this happens, or this video starts, I would like you to, well, after I'm done speaking, pause the video and go check out the post I made a little while back. Because I actually am making custom bookmarks for the next 6 books that I'm going to be reading for this bookmark right here in my hand, or bookmark and book, which is going to be Minecraft Zombies Return and a few other books that haven't been chosen yet, and 6 stories for more adult books. For example, Olivia, which is the next story that we're going to be reading, but I've already designed the one for Olivia and Zombies Return. I'm not the best drawer, but maybe it's like a memorabilia thing. But yeah, we do have 6 on each with the date started and the date that it's going to end. Um, and they're not fully finished yet because, of course, I haven't, finished the book. But once these 6 books are done and 6 drawings are done, we're going to have something cool. I'll keep you guys updated on what they look like. So yeah, I mean, honestly, if you guys want them or want to see me, want to get them, please tell me below. I'll start it because I also have other Stonesy Boy bookmarks that I've custom made and custom ordered, that I might also put out to the public. But that's neither here nor there. Now, without further ado, let us begin. Of Chapter 17. Ben had found a way to the Overlords, though less conventional means than Bobby had. It all started with the over-ambitious pirate. "You can just steal a person's boat," Ben complained while treading water. "Of course I can," said the trident-wielding troublemaker. "I'm Paulie, Prince of the Pirates, and stealing boats is what pirates do." Paulie certainly looked like a part of the pirate. He had a black hat and eye patch, and he wore a tattered fishing net over his clothing, almost like a cape. His too grizzled old sea captain was his kid younger than Ben himself, although he was at least a few years older than Johnny. "Wait a minute, Johnny, where's Johnny? What happened to the baby?" Ben demanded. "What, the little fellow with the pumpkin head?" said the pirate. "Boot him overboard, didn't I?" "You did what?" Ben cried. "He was just a baby." "Aye, well, I'd be a pirate, and pirate must be fearsome, and hey, what are you doing?" Ben was furious. Batting the trident aside, he pulled himself out of the water and onto the boat. He didn't even bother looking for a weapon. He just clenched his fist and put full fury into his face. Paulie flinched. "He's fine. I made sure he was floating before I left him. Honest." Ben noticed that Paulie had dropped the phony accent. "You better take me to him," Ben said. "Right now." "Okay, okay," said Paulie. He put a trident away and steered the boat in the direction. "Gee, you're no fun." "That baby was my responsibility," said Ben. "So, why'd you leave him alone in the boat while in the middle of the ocean?" Ben didn't have to answer for that. At least, not one he cared to share. They'd found Johnny within minutes. He was hard to miss, and the oversized pumpkin bobbed up in the water like an orange signpost. "Buddy, I'm so sorry," Ben said and approached. Johnny grumbled. "I know, I'm terrible," Ben said. "It won't happen again." "I don't think there's room on this boat for all 3 of us," said Paulie. "I'm assuming you can swim," said Ben. "Come on, this isn't fair," complained Paulie. He waved his trident around. "I'm a fearsome pirate. You're supposed to give me your stuff. And you can have this," Ben said, and he removed the turtle shell from his head. Striped Paulie's hat and dropped the shell onto the boy's head. "What's this for?" Paulie asked, stepping a shell. "To make you feel better about doing this," Ben answered, and he shoved the boy overboard. Paulie had a terrific splash, disappeared beneath the water. By the time he resurfaced, Ben had already pulled Johnny back aboard and steered the ship westward. "Wait," said the pirate. "Aren't you forgetting something?" He waved the sheet of tattered paper above the surface water. Ben didn't know what he saw until he saw the big red X. "You didn't." He checked his inventory. The treasure map was gone. "You little sneak. We'll find it together," Paulie paused. "I'm a pirate in need for a crew, and you're an adventurer in need of loot. But this boat isn't big enough for 3 of us," said Ben. "You said so yourself." "We can find a nice mushroom island and stow the baby," Polly offered. Johnny mewed and miserable and wet, and Ben looked like the baby up and down inside. He really couldn't consider leaving Johnny behind. He wasn't interested in all the overworld if he couldn't ease his guilt. "You're wrong about me, Polly," he said at last. "I'm not just another adventurer. It was more important things than loot. If you keep that map, I got everything I need right here in this boat." He patted Johnny's pumpkin affectionately. The zombie boy growled and swiped at him. "Come on, Johnny, we're having a moment here," Ben complained. "You'll regret this, landlubber," cried Paulie, his piratical accent back to his vengeance. He thrashed in the water and stabbed his trident menacingly into the air. "You made a fearsome foe this day. I'll hunt you to the ends of the overworld." "Yeah, sure," said Ben. "Just be careful where you poke that trident, Paulie. There's dolphins around here, and they were not quick of anger." He growled off, calling over his shoulder. "And don't steal any more boats." When Ben had taken Paulie's pirate hat, he had no idea what would be the key to gaining an audience of the overworld overlords. The coordinates in Logan's journal led to the heavily fortified village where his strange little fellow, dressed somewhat like the jester, called from the battlements. "Look at what the tide's dragged in. Aye, Kiro, turn thee away, villain." "Who, me?" said Ben. I wasn't sure at first what he'd been mistaken for a villain, and he realized that Kiro was eyeing this hat. "Oh, wait, this. No, I'm not a pirate," Ben chuckled. I took this hat off some kid. Cairo raised an eyebrow. You stole the vestments of a child? No wonder you're so poorly styled. Oh, no, that's not what I meant, Pat said quickly. You realize he'd better put more impressive spin on the story. He wasn't a big deal for the fib a little, right? Every hero did it. You didn't let me finish, he said. I stole this hat off some kidnapper. It was just something I was going to say. A really fearsome pirate with a crew of skeletons. I beat them all and took their loot. Cairo's eyes went wide for a moment, and then Ben worried he laid it on too thick, but Bard smiled. Looks like you have to tell. I'll let you in. You need not yell. Ben turned to Johnny. Well, that was easy. Roar, said Johnny. Back up there, in there, all right? Said Ben. Whatever I say, just go along with it. Roar, Johnny said again. Cool, cocoa beans, said Ben. We've got this. The gate opened and Cairo was there to greet him, along with two other figures. One was a young woman wearing a set of glittering diamond armor, scented with a red cape. The other was a bearded man with no shirt who was wielding a glowing pickaxe. Cairo was some type of pirate slayer, and said the woman. At least that's how he said it. The rhyming sometimes make it hard to follow. So she says, but I just chime in, said Cairo. Most folks I met quite like the rhythm. Keep telling yourself that, said the man. I'm Major Miner, and this is Diamond Jubilee. We're members of the Overworld Overlords, Ben finished, all creeping into his voice. I know, I've heard about you. I'm Ben, the adventurer, like you guys. Ha, said Diamond Jubilee. Well, we judge that, I think. And who's the pumpkin-headed fellow? A bit short for an adventurer, isn't he? This is Jacko Johnny, said Ben. He's my sidekick. He leaned in closer and whispered. His true identity is a secret only known to his closest confidants. The pumpkin never comes off in public. A man of mystery, said Diamond Jubilee, and her eyes glittered in her armor. You never had a affair with the dramatic young fellow, Major Miner said to Johnny. And a bit of pungent odor, if you don't mind me saying. Oh, right, Ben said quickly. You got used to Johnny's particular armor. These days, the zombie boy certainly smelled like more zombie than boy. He's taken a vow. He refuses to enjoy the comforts of the bath until he reenacts vengeance on the villain who smashed all his pumpkins. A vow of grime? Said Jubilee. Now that's a new one. Grar, said Johnny. He's also taken a vow of silence, Ben shrugged. Whoa, Ben, one here to another, said Major Miner, and he put his arm around Ben's shoulders. Don't let your sidekick see your spotlight. If you want to be the overlord someday, you need to show your commitment and heroic persona. Jacko has the right idea. Like me, I only do battle with a pickaxe. It almost gives me a hostile mob's a sporting chance. He winked, and Ben said, Wow, pickaxes weren't suited for combat, so Major Miner was tremendous skill. Wow is right, said the hero. You'll find your shtick soon enough, I'm sure. He won't just take some mistake like she did. He pointed at Diamond Jubilee. I should not have seen her when they scouted the netherite. She wouldn't get out of bed for a week. Diamond used to be the best, she said sadly. A netherite Jubilee doesn't make any sense. And there's this guy, Major Miner pointed at Cairo. Can you imagine deciding to rhyme nonstop? I bet he regrets that close to that gimmick. I certainly regret it. Cairo huffed. Major Miner, I must protest. Feel any rhyming is the best. Sure, said the Major. And he steered Ben through the gate. Cairo, why don't you fetch some food for our new friends? Don't bother coming up with a rhyme for yes, sir. You can just be on your way. I'll give them the tour. Cairo stomped off and Ben, holding firmly to Johnny's lead, allowed himself to be led in turn by Major Miner and Diamond Jubilee. We've got quite an operation here, as you can see. Our current roster includes 13 heroes, who come as the adventurers beckons. I want to spoil and invite them food, potions, crafting materials, everything in communal and shared among us. Diamond Jubilee sniffed. Some get a greater share than others, however. This is not seniority work, Jubes, snapped the Major. No more complaining. Now, Ben, that's the cafeteria over there. It doubles as a town hall for the important announcements. Ben recognized the layout of the village. It had been a dozen villages just like this one, but overlords have made improvements. The stone wall ringed the buildings in the unbroken circle, and the most obvious as Ben walked the dirt paths. He saw a standard wood building as he went up, graded the stone expansions and obsidian towers. Cover the stone walkways connected several of the buildings, and in the center of the town, a squat obsidian structure stood sharply among the browns and grays of the surrounding buildings. Ben overall's impression was that the heroes had descended on an average everyday village, and they had been taking enormous liberties to make the village their own personal fortress. But the villagers are all still there. They rushed here and there with their errands, outnumbering the heroes 2-1. Major Miner saw him looking. I know what you're thinking. And no, the villagers aren't members of the order. Think of them as support staff. They farm and craft, and we take what we need from them. Isn't that right, random villager? On asking a question, the Major reached out a passing villager, slapping the mob rudely out of the side of the head. The villager grumbled with shock and annoyance, but kept walking. They crack me up, said Major Miner, especially when they're used to use them as target practice. That's cruel, said Ben. Without thinking, and Major Miner and Diamond Jubilee turned to look at them. He felt himself blush. They're only villagers, said Diamond Jubilee. They don't have feelings. Are you sure? Said Ben. I have this friend, Bobby. She was raised by villagers, and they took her in, and she was just a baby. Nonsense, said Major Miner. People are people, and villagers are just mobs. They're just brainless as chickens, or zombies. Ha! Said Major Miner. Great zombie impression, kid. That was spot on. Zombies, thought Ben. Right, Logan had an army of zombies, and for whatever reason, he was planning to set them loose here. The sun was up now, so he could be safe, but as soon as the sun went down... Listen, Ben said. There's a reason I'm here. Of course there is, said the Major, putting his arm around Ben once more, pulling him close. Ben would sort of wish he put his shirt on as he was being so touchy. You're here to join the Overlords. No, wait, said Ben, and the Major Miner's words sunk in. Could I really join you all? I mean, you want me to? Ben's heart swelled. He put a lot of stock in being an adventurer, but to be honest, he wanted the best track record lately. He'd been getting dumped by Logan, replaced by other Ben, and left behind by Bobby. It all left him feeling a little unwanted. The thought of joining the Overlords and their invitation, it was too good to be true. Of course we'd want you to join, said the Major. A triumph adventurer like yourself with our own sidekick, Bane and briny bandits everywhere? He flicked Ben's pirate hat. Diamond Jubilee puts her fists in her hips. That's right. You still got to tell us about the skeleton pirate crew, you know. Ben's excitement faded a little. He did, after all, exaggerate his qualifications by a little. Oh, leave him alone, Jubes. The details don't matter. Major Miner drew him close. Now, the initiation fee is really quite reasonable. Now, how many emeralds do you have on you now? Ben's heart already deflating down to his stomach. There's a fee to join? A nominal fee, said the Major. Just enough to know that you're legit. And the monthly dues are much cheaper if you pay up front. But didn't you bring in new recruits? Do you keep a portion of their fee? Diamond Jubilee shrugged. It ends up paying for itself, if you can find the right recruits. Tell you what, Bandit Ben, the Major Miner smiled. Yeah, you sound like that name, don't you? How about you stick around for a bit, eat our food, sleep in whatever bed's free, and give us the answer in the morning? How does that sound? Hello and hi. Did someone say food? Said Cairo as he stepped out in the building that Major Miner identifies as the cafeteria. I've some cooked chicken if you're in the mood. Ben's mouth watered. He didn't remember the last time he had a hot meal as he prepared himself to get used to this. Thanks, Cairo, he said, around a mouthful of tender chicken. This is awesome, all of this. The Overlords are everything I dreamed of they would be. Ben shook his head. But it only makes my business much more urgent. The real reason I'm here is to warn you. They're in terrible danger. Cairo laughed. Danger is our middle name. We fear no evil. We fear no pain. Did that rhyme? Asked Major Miner. Slant rhyme, answered Diamond Jubilee. She shrugged. It counts. Please listen, said Ben. There's a guy, this villain, I guess. His name's Logan, and he's coming here to attack this place. Ah, Cairo nodded. Logan. He's known to us. He wished to join, he said. Get lost. That explains it, said Ben. Logan isn't the kind of guy you forgive and forget. He must be out for revenge. Then he should have paid a fee, said Diamond Jubilee. We do have standards, you know, said Major Miner, but I don't think we have anything to fear from Logan. If nothing else, we'll have handily outnumbered. And that's where you're wrong there, of course. They didn't know about the army of zombies, wondering about how to give them a chance to prepare. Only even if they believed him. Wouldn't that mean the heroes would destroy the zombies? That was the opposite of what Bobby wanted to happen. He had friends and family members that were in the zombie horde. We need to evacuate, she said. Fighting this threat could be impossible. The thing's Logan is panned. Really super scary. You've got to get out of here. Maybe relocate the tropical biome. I bet the jungle is lovely this time of year. Ha, said Cairo. You think we should turn and flee? What sort of heroes then would we then be? You have to admit, he's got a pretty sweet setup here, said Major Miner. If somebody comes for us, we'll defend this place like our lives depend on it. Feel sorry for anyone who tried to take what's ours, said Diamond Jubilee. Yeah, me too, said Ben, and his heart sank. He couldn't convince his overlords to avoid Logan's attacks. Then they're in for the fight of their lives, and whichever side won, the casualties was going to be tragic. Ben was just glad Bobby couldn't be there to witness it. Although Bobby wouldn't give up so quickly, would she? She'd find some way to convince the overlords to hear her out, and she wouldn't take no for an answer. And maybe she'd eat a lot of free food when she was looking on the solution. Hard to say, but Jen certainly was going to be shied. Is there any more chicken, Cairo? I do my best thinking on a full stomach. In a moment, I'll fetch some more, said Cairo, and at the signal of a fellow overlord stationed atop of the battlements, he hurried back toward the gate. Right now, I must see who is at the door. Chapter 18. Bobby couldn't believe it when Cairo sent her away. What sort of village made a traveler prove herself worthy before they let her inside? Although, come to think of it, her village might have fared better in a simple policy. He was the one who welcomed Logan with open arms. After all, she had gone exceedingly poorly. However, if Bobby had to run some random errand in order to earn her way inside, she would do it. She was very strong suspicion that Hatchet and Flip were just a few steps behind her, and she was beginning to think she would need the help she would get against Logan. But leaving Ben behind had not been her all-time best idea. Bobby allowed her frustration at Cairo, at Logan, at herself, to fuel every swing of her pickaxe. She shoved an iron regular staircase into the ground, cutting through grass, then dirt, then seamlessly endless layers of stone. Eventually, her tunnel connected to an open pocket of subterranean space. It was a cavern, and judging by the warm orange light that illuminated the craggy corner, she knew it would find here lava. She proceeded carefully. This didn't seem such lava in her lifetime, and she found it fascinating. She was also a little scared of it. The idea she would take one false step and literally burst into flames was not a comforting thought. But the light would keep the monsters spawning in the cavern, and the bright swirling colors of the lava was almost hypnotically beautiful. Particularly where there was lava was pouring into the chamber like a miniature waterfall. She allowed herself a moment of rest, searching for lava shapes and the patterns, maybe even more sign of sort. But all she saw was chaos. She sighed. To find the loot she was looking for, she would have to dig deeper still. But the last thing she wanted was to dig a hole in the wrong place and have a torrent of lava follow her down. A lava fall was pretty, until it was coming down on your head.
She would have been careful about where she would cut her next hole, and she'd have to provide her own light from here. She dug her inventory and found that she only had a handful of torches left. And though she had picked up plenty of coal while digging, she used up nearly every scrap of wood until she was carrying around. She didn't like her chances finding wood underground, so as much as it bothered her to lose the time, she decided to trace her steps back to the surface. Since the path was already cut, she would be faster going up than it would be coming down. A few moments later, she was on the surface, cutting into trees all the wood she needed. The forest trees were abundant, and rabbits and chickens went about their business. Her surroundings were peaceful, and the action of the chopping trees was relaxing. Soon Bobby let her guard down entirely. It was then she heard a voice in the dreaded hearing. "I'm sure she went this way," said Flip. "That's what you said last time," Hatchet complained. "Well, my process of elimination," Hatchet growled. "Just keep an eye out for any sign of that someone's been this way." Bobby frowned. She looked around her little grove where she had been gathering wood. A dozen trees were partly hacked away, the stumps unmistakable sign of human activity. Hatchet and Flip would see the grove, and they would know that Bobby had been here. She hurried back to her hole, and she dug next to the river. Once underground, she used the dirt to plunge the entrance so that Hatchet and Flip couldn't see it. Lava light glowing from the below would be especially obvious as the sun went down, but they wouldn't notice naked pitch of dirt and the field of grass and the flowers. Bobby worried she had left too obvious of a trail. Would she be closer to the tunnel behind her? Did she have time for that? Maybe she used flood instead. Acting almost like on impulse, Bobby used her diamond pickaxe to dig sideways, almost near a nearby river. She soon struck water, rushed forward to fill the hole, surging into a little tunnel, knocking her back. The torrent of water following the path she cut in the earth, rushing down and taking her side with it. Bobby laughed. She created a water slide. If not for the enemies above her and the lava below, she wouldn't have been content to lie back and enjoy the ride. But she thought for a current, and careful not to let it sweep her into the lava pool below. Once in the cavern, she quickly found her footing, hopping to the dry patch of stone in the corner. The water let lava, finding new blocks of obsidian had formed. Bobby looked at the diamond pickaxe. It was strong enough to allow her to harvest obsidian blocks. It would only take a little risky, cutting through so close to lava while finding the current water. If she was careful, she'd gather quite a bit of obsidian, and obsidian would be useful for setting a trap. Once Bobby had been needed from the flooded cavern, she wailed off the water, prepared her torches, and dug. She didn't stop digging until she hit bedrock. It was deep as she had ever been. She dug inside and up a bit until her trap would require some room to maneuver. Soon as she expected, she cut through a final wall of stone, and her fresh carved staircase opened a vast cavernous hollow. Emerging from a narrow tunnel of stone, she found her warped her mind around the scale of the place. She would seriously see a ceiling of stone she knew was high above, and stony shapes of the distance of a distinctly crafted quality. There was even a wooden tower, not like the one the pillagers had used as an outpost. So this was a natural cavern then, not entirely. No one had made this. Ancient city, said Bobby. Found it. A plant-like growth nearby seemed to react to her voice, emitting eerie blue signals in the air. Almost at the same time, a shrieking sound rang out. At first, she thought Flip and Hatchet had found her, but the sound was inhuman. It was, she imagined, or was her vision darkening too? Bobby flinched and crouched low, certain that some unknown mob was ready to attack. A bard had mentioned something called the Warden. As Bobby looked all around, she saw the source of the sound was a mob at all, other one of those strange, glowing, plant-like blocks that appeared to be irregular throughout the area. Bobby whacked it with a pickaxe so it broke, and the noise immediately fell silent. Bobby sighed in relief that had been annoying, but it wouldn't seem to cause any harm. Nothing around to hear the noise, and she silenced it quickly. She got to work digging into. She needed to set a trap before Hatchet and Flip or something even worse found her alone down here. Inside the darkness, no zombies or skeletons or creepers appeared to challenge her, or at least that was a relief. The darkness itself was heavy, but not absolute. There was a strange blue lantern set about, and the tower at the center of the cavern. A stronger blue light seemed to beckon her. She suspected that any loot worth looting would be found in that direction. As she walked, the area seemed more and more forest-like, with the blue lanterns highlighting castle-like battlements, and more outpost-like wooden towers, all empty to her relief. There was a faded carpeting along some of the otherwise stony ground, which you used a stretch of wool blocks struck upon and made her feel like a ghost, utterly silent and detached from her surroundings. She stepped onto the side, preferring the natural stonework and eerily soft and silent wool. A second shrieking block activated. Bobby's thought the cavern grew darker at the same time. She struggled to find the source of the noise, securely tipping over the shrieker. She silenced it with a few draft swings. She thought she heard the faintest sound of a heartbeat and the thrilling noise in the distance, but then it went silent. Clearly, her imagination was getting the better of her. But she stayed on the wool floor after that. Maybe being silent down here wasn't the worst idea. In silence, however, her hairs on the back of her neck stood as she almost unnerving sense that someone was watching her. She turned to look away where she'd come. She left some torches along the path, but that would have been easier to retrace her steps if she finished exploring. Betta taught her that, of course. It also made it easier to be followed. In the middle of the distance, Bobby saw a dark figure step up in front of the torch. She wasn't alone down here. The question is, had Flip and Hatchet caught up to her, or was a hostile mob shuffling aimlessly in the dark, blocking her path back to the surface of sheer luck? Bobby wasn't taking any chances. She pulled out her crossbow and pointed in the direction of the figure. It was a little far away and much too dim to the detail, but if it would pass in front of another torch, it would be in its position. There! Bobby let an arrow fly, and just a figure outlined the hazy torchlight. It held her breath, waiting for her to discover her aim to be true. The sound of her crossbow set off another shrieking plant back in the stairs somewhere. She ignored it and kept her focus on the battle ahead. A shouted "Ow!" told her two things. One, her aim was true as could be, and two, It was not some mindless mom, as the person who had made the sound. Hatchet and Flip had found her at last. Bobby knew there was no way he'd win a battle against the two of them, especially not down here in the dark, but she had planned. For the plan to work, she needed them to follow her. There's more than that came from, Bobby cried. Better catch me. Wait, whispered a figure in the dark. Shush! I said come and get me, Bobby cried, and she fired another arrow to the figure's direction. Did the trick Bobby saw the shadowy figure whip by another torch, coming after her in a hurry? She turned and ran, looping for the tall columns and stonework to get to the far side of the figure. She needed to follow the torchlit path, and she needed her pursuer to follow her. Within moments, Bobby saw a hole she left in the ground, but the only was because she knew to look for it. She leaped over it handily. Her pursuer was not as lucky, she figured, with a tumble into a hole and landed in the bedrock below his pit. Painful thud. Ow, they cried again. She thought only one thing, though, was a hatchet or Flip. It was hardly matter. Pit she dug, lined with obsidian, they hard pressed to cut their way out, and climbing out would take no small amount of time, especially once Bobby plugged the hole, plunging the captain into utter darkness. They doubled back to the pit. Enjoy your stay, said Bobby. It was better than you deserve. Harsh, said her captain. I thought we were friends. Bobby couldn't believe her ears. She dropped the block and holding a fumbled a torch. By the lights cast, she could only see a figure caught in a trap. It wasn't happening, wasn't Flip. Ben, she cried. What are you doing here? Oh my goodness, the duo's back and the chapters can finally go back to being one. Oh, that's great.
But yeah, they are back together, baby. The Bandit duo, the cool and the coolo, you know? But yeah, so that has been the reading for today. Next time we read, oh yeah, right, first we got to get the little check marks, or Control C, Control V. I really wish I could show you guys this, but if I did, then you guys would get sneak peeks to a lot of future books. Anyhow, next time we are reading chapters 19 and 20, like we did today, and next time we're reading pages. Ooh, next video is going to be a short video. I love short videos. Next time we are going to be reading pages 104 to 11. Oh no. That's right. Next time we are reading pages 104 to 117, not 104 to 11. That would be weird. Now, before we go, because this video is long, I actually wanted to start a new thing on the series. And honestly, it's more educational. Reading these kids' books are good, but they're not really educational. So, I would like to invite you guys to something with me that I like to call Stonesy's Informational Corner. Now, I actually haven't set up a proper slide for that yet, so I'll probably do that once this video is done, and the next time you get to see it. But, yeah, give me a second, and I will show you what I have. So, today, we are going to be reading about so basically, what this corner is going to be is a corner full of plants and different things about them. So, with this, you'll be learning about plants and other such things as them. Even if you look in the description right now, you can look for the first thing that's going to be talking about the topic of today's Stonesy's Reading Corner, or Stonesy's Informational Corner, or Information Corner, whatever I call it, is going to be talking about our plant of the day. Our plant of the day is the Abella, or as it's known, the Aaron's beard. It is a Caprifoliaceae, evergreen, partially evergreen, or deciduous shrubs, graceful, arcing branches, densely clothed with oval, usually glossy leaves, 1/2 to 1 inch and a half long, bronzy new growth, tubular or bell-shaped flowers in clusters that end in branches or among leaves. Though small, blossoms are plentiful enough to be showy mostly during summer and early fall. When bloom drops, they usually leave purplish or copper-colored sepals, which provide color into the fall months. Leaves may also take a bronzy tint in fall to keep the shrub's graceful form. Prune selectively, don't shear. The more stems you cut to the ground in winter and early spring, the more open and arching next year's growth will be. Abios grow in the flower best in sun, but they will take some shade in these adaptable plants, useful to shrub borders as space dividers and visual barriers, and other near house walls lower the kinds of good bank of ground covers. They need to average watering. A Floribunda, Mexican Abella, evergreen zones 8, 9, 12 to 24, severely damaged at 20 degrees Fahrenheit, usually 3 to 6 feet tall, sometimes 10 feet, arching reddish stems and are downy or hairy. Pendulous tubular flowers 1.5 inch long, reddish purple single or in clusters, usually summer blooming, but often in full bloom in January. Needs partial shade in the hot summer areas. Another breed of the umbrella is the grandifloria, glossy Abella, as it's more known, evergreen to partly deciduous zones 5 to 24. Hybrid of 2 species from China, best known for most popular of the Abellas, grown 8 feet tall or taller, spreads to 5 feet or more. Flowers quite
white or faintly tinged pink June to October. Another breed of this is the Edward Goucher, or a Gaucherie, like a grandiflora, evergreen in the milder climates, nearly deciduous at 15 degrees Fahrenheit, lower growing to 3 to 5 feet, and lacier from a grandiflora, small lilac pink flowers, with orange throats that make shadowy display June-October. At 0 degrees Fahrenheit, both a grandiflora and a G. Edward Goucher freeze to the ground, but usually recovered in the bloom the same year, making graceful border plants 10 to 15 inches tall. Another breed of the abella is the Francis Mason. Slow, densely shrimped brudge in the pink flowers, leaves fertilized with yellow, blooms June to October. Another being the prostrata, occasionally particularly deciduous, even in the mildest climates, low growing 1.5 to 2 feet, spreading variety useful, set 3 to 4 foot apart. Blooms during June and October. And finally, the final breed of the abella, the Sherry Woody. As funny as that's spelled, it's spelled Sherwoodii. Smaller than a glendiflora, more compact, flows 3 to 4 feet tall, 5 feet wide, and blossoms in June or October. And that has been our description of the day. So, I hope you guys have a fantastic, wonderful day. Be polite, be efficient, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you guys enjoyed the flower of the day, or the shrub, or the plant, whatever it is. Because I'm getting this from the Sunset Western Garden Book, a comprehensive Western plant encyclopedia that's zoned for 24 climates, plant selection guide, landscaping, and ideas of color, and how to control pests, diseases, and weeds. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Stonesy's Corner. I hope you guys have a super fantastic, wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!